Hey guys, this is something that I've been wanting to comment on for a little while, and it's basically the state of DSP's Reacts channel and how he uses it to interact with his fans, and how that interaction is actually like not really the way you're supposed to interact with the fan base. And it's just in general his whole toxicity and the idea that he like despises his fans, that he actually just is very, very antagonistic towards them. And because he just seems to view them as just a means to an end, and that end is to just create his own content. Like, he doesn't want to do any of the work himself for any of the content that he creates. He just sees like them as like, tell me what to do and I will do it, but I won't tell you that I used your idea. I'll pretend that I did it myself. He has a tendency of doing this a lot. So I just wanted to go in and talk about that with respect to DSP Reacts. And one of the things that he had done recently, where he talked today, I believe, about one of the clips that was submitted earlier that he skipped hard on. And we'll actually, I have the clip in question as well, so we'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at what he says he did and what actually happened, and then we'll discuss how he is actually treating this person who submitted the clip, and my own opinion of that matter as well. Let's just get started on listening to his bullshit.
So we have a couple tips to shout out here, okay? Let's do it. First tip came out overnight, and it's someone upset again. Why? I talked about this on yesterday's stream, okay? And I'll talk about it again, but it's gonna be brief.
It's not brief. If you look at the clip, he talks for about 10 minutes on this. Obviously, he got baited, but still, it's worth knowing that he just loves to hear himself talk. And whenever he says, I will be brief, you can expect him to go on for at least 10 to 15 minutes, if not longer. It has happened before. It will happen again.
Here's what I'm just gonna read. You ready? So yesterday, I said there was someone who submitted a video for DSP Reacts, for DSP versus the internet. I watched the video, I didn't like it, I moved on. This person became incensed and upset with me, sent me a really nasty email about how I'm a bad person, and this is why all my haters have ammo for me, because I'm a bad person because of the way that I reacted to the video. Now, I responded to this yesterday, right? And I said on this show, guys, I don't know what this person's even talking about. If you submit a clip for DSP versus the internet, I'm gonna give you my honest reaction to the clip. I'm not gonna lie and kiss your butt and say every clip is good. That's kind of the point of the show, isn't it? You submit a clip, I watch it, and I tell you what I think about it. There's gonna be some clips that either I don't get or I just don't like, and I move on. In addition, a lot of the times I'm watching a clip and the chat just says it's boring or whatever, move on. And so I do. In this case, I particularly remember the clip. It was like some kind of a RPG, it looked like. But it looked like one of those ones that's on PC, so it looks like an old school RPG with more modernized graphics, HD graphics. It didn't look too interesting. It kind of looked like a top-down JRPG, and it had some music playing, and I was like, I don't get this. I don't know what this is supposed to be. Is it an ad for the game or whatever? And I said, oh well, we're moving on. And I went to the next video. No one in chat understood it either, and everyone was like, boring, just move on, so I did.
That ain't what happened. We can see exactly what happened. He just said boring and moved on. Even at the time of this video, he hard skipped it in 20 seconds. His chat didn't even have time to respond to it. The only person who said anything in regards to it being boring was Clyde Baxter. And he just typed a bunch of Z's, as you can see from the chat.
Not an NES game. I have no idea what we're looking at. Kellen and the Luth video game so low? What the hell is this? That's boring is what that is. Let's continue.
Props to Dark Days Mirror for actually hosting a restream where I actually had access to Phil's chat in it, so we could see what they were saying, in addition to what Phil had actually done. What he's basically saying, like, he's either misremembering things and trying to convince himself that his audience agree with him, or he like is just, you know, just straight up lying. It's hard to tell at this point with this man. Either way, it isn't what happened, and that's not even really the point of what I wanted to get at. The point is basically that he has the attitude that, like, oh, like, this is my reaction or whatever is going to be natural, and you don't expect me to just, you know, to praise whatever clip you sent in or whatever. Like, yeah, that kind of is true, but at the same time, from one honest asshole to another, you don't claim I'm just being honest as an excuse to just be an asshole. Like, legitimate, like, literally that's what he's doing. He just is hiding behind the guise of honesty to give himself free reign to just be a jackass and dismiss the clip that the guy had sent in.
This particular person is so upset with me, okay? They sent another tip with another message this morning. I'm gonna read it. You missed my point. My friend made that music video. It was excellent. If only you would give it a shot. Even for me, I've contributed a lot to you, but you just shit on my video and move on. That's why I'm so pissed at you, Phil. You don't know how people feel about the clips they're sending. You should be nicer to your fans. Now, this is such a loaded statement. Just listen to what the person is saying. It's almost like they feel like I actively crapped on the video they submitted on purpose to make them feel bad or something. Obviously, it's not the case. The funny part about this is just, well, my friend made it. Well, number one, how do I know that? And number two, what does it have to do with anything? Right? I mean, if your mother made a fart compilation video, I'd still say the fart compilation video wasn't very good, because I don't want to see a fart compilation video. I don't care if your mom made it, okay? You see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter who made the video. It's a moot point, all right? Now, you might think that the video is good. That's your prerogative. For me, I'm in the middle of a clip show. I'm watching random clips. This clip is not catching on. I'm watching it, and I'm like, meh, boring. I don't really get it. I don't know what the game is, so I don't know what the context of the video is, right? So how, I mean, again, the qualifying things you're saying don't make any sense. You're saying, well, my friend made it. Well, I didn't know that. That doesn't even matter anyway. Oh, well, it's supposed to be a music video of this game. Well, I don't know that. I don't even know what I'm watching. That's the nature of the clip show, is that I'm getting thrown a bunch of random clips. I don't understand what they are, right? So I can't really give perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the perspective of, like, if someone walked up to me and said, Phil, so by the way, here's a clip. Now, this clip is a musical video that my friend made. And it's of this certain RPG that they really like, and they put a lot of time and effort into it. And I appreciate if you could watch at least 30 seconds to a minute of this video, because he put a lot of time into it. And even if you don't like it, you know, just give it a look. Versus, here's the clip that I want you to watch this week, and I put it into the playlist. I don't have any of that information whatsoever. So I'm watching this clip out of context with a live audience who, by the way, is saying, wow, this clip is boring. Move on, move on, move on, move on. I'm trying to do my best to juggle what they're saying with my feelings about the video, right? That's not... The qualifying characteristics of your feelings don't matter because they're not correct. I'm not sitting here in a contextual situation where I understand what you're talking about or anything about this video. I'm watching it cold turkey and not knowing what I'm watching.
We can talk about this in detail, at least for a little bit. The thing is, he does have a point in the fact that he doesn't really need to know the context of the submission in order to basically shit on it. Like, that part is actually, like, I will give him credit for that part. Like, that part is actually fine. At this point, I'm actually not sure if the person who is sending this, like, I guess, lengthy tip message is, like, a legitimate, true and honest fan of DSP, or if they're just LARPing and trying to get under his skin. If it's the latter case, then congratulations, you actually did a fairly good job. But if it's the former case, then I feel sorry for you. The thing is, the context actually doesn't matter in this case. And if you were to say, like, hey, this is a video my friend made, I'd appreciate you to take a look at it, the chances are Phil wouldn't read that message. He just, because he's supreme lazy, he probably would just ignore the message attached to the video, just throw the clip in the playlist, and then call it a night. That's just how he operates. And in general, that is like kind of like a really, really bad way of handling the nature of this clip show to begin with. Like, we can get into the whole nature of the clip show as a whole at this point. And that DSP Reacts, DSP versus the internet, the only thing that actually is on that channel right now that he's actively working on is actually a really shitty format. Like, it has been said, I think, on like podcasts and stuff, that he tends to imitate success or successful like things that happen, and he doesn't really understand how and why they work. This is incredibly true with how he handles the clip show, with how he handles DSP versus the internet. He doesn't really understand why a lot of other larger streamers get like a lot of traction based on them just reacting to something people show them. In general, most of the time, without getting too far into it, those other streamers are charismatic and Phil here is not. He is incredibly like aside from the fact that he's just antagonistic and overall an unpleasant person, he is very, very much disinterested in a lot of what he is watching. It is very, very clear that he just does not care about most of the things that he's watching, and it feels like he's just doing this just to basically get through the workday, or his equivalent of what a workday is. He doesn't really care about what he's watching, which kind of lends to the idea that like the only reason he does to begin with is just to make money. Like I can bring up this real quick.
Someone actually said, during the show, live, they tipped me, and they were like, this is the last straw. Now that you have watched a Carton Arts video, your viewers are just submitting the worst possible videos. There's great videos, like Crow B Cat puts out 10-minute long videos every week that are critical of the gaming industry, and if you analyze those, that would be great content for the show, but no one ever nominates the videos. I can't believe it. So they said this during a $2 tip, and I responded during the show, and I said, so then why don't you become a member and nominate the videos that you think are good? Because you sending me a $2 tip and saying that doesn't help the situation at all. If you have a good idea of something that you want me to react to, then become a part of the process. You're already contributing, right? You're already sending the tip, so it's obvious you're already supporting. So just do it in the method by which you can actually get the clip you want to be watched. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. It confounds me sometimes how people behave. They get upset, but then they don't take the steps to make it so that it could remedy the situation so they won't be upset again.
He just sees this as a waste to make money. He really does. And the whole idea of this whole thing, like, he doesn't actually give a shit about what people send him either. Like, he'll just watch, like, he'll watch literally anything, and he believes his commentary is somehow insightful and meaningful. And that never really is the case. He's not really like offering anything interesting or even offering anything entertaining. That's like the one thing that like a lot of other streamers have over him, is that when they watch a clip of something, they'll at least offer something entertaining. Like, they'll watch it and it's actually fun to watch them react to something. All Phil does is he just basically asks very, very obvious questions about whatever he's seeing, and then it's like, okay, we're going to skip this, and that's it for most things, unless it's a food video. If it's a food video, he will watch most of it the way through. And then he'll act confused about why the person in the food video doesn't actually eat the food. It goes to show where his priorities lie in terms of that he just likes food. He likes food and he likes himself. Anything that involves himself, like an old condo tour, which he did do on the most recent React video, or just like Street Fighter, something that he has some modicum of expertise in, he will let it play through. And he will try to offer subpar commentary over it, to the point where he actually starts like preempting himself. If it's a clip of him doing something, he will say something, and then the Phil in the video will also say something, because he can't help himself talk about the exact same thing, which, considering most of the things that he watches of his old self are like over 10 years old, is kind of sad, considering that he hasn't changed in that time period. He hasn't changed from how he was 10 years past, even though he always says that he's changed. He hasn't. He hasn't done anything to change his status. He hasn't done anything to change his content. He's still the same person while all other people have moved on to bigger and better things. And yet he prides himself in this stagnation. It is very, very strange and incredibly pathetic. And that doesn't even get into the idea, like the whole fact that like he just shows utter contempt for his audience whenever they submit something, and even his audience is really like kind of like at each other's throats when this stuff goes through. Like a lot of times, like I think I remember in the most recent clip shoot, there was one clip from a Russian streamer, and she was like just doing like a song about like her new year or whatever, and like immediately his chat was like saying that this was submitted by Derek, and Derek got really upset over this. Considering Derek's character, it would have been like it would not have been out of character for him to send in something like this, but that's really besides the point here. The point is that not even the people who watch Joel, ironically or not, like each other for the most part. Either that or they all just hate Derek, which is a fair which is like a fair assessment here. Even so, like the whole thing is like there are people that complain about the clips that are being submitted, and Phil's response is to just say, well, then submit better clips, become a member and submit better clips. The issue with that is that those people will then just submit more bad clips, even if like, so like, oh, I can submit something, someone pays up and says, oh, I can submit something better, and they just submit more garbage, or at least more garbage to him, or at least part of his like active viewer base will call it garbage, and they just start turning on each other. And a lot of people just don't watch the react channels because he has nothing to offer to that either. And it's not even like, the thing that he should be doing is he should be seeking out clips himself. Like, as an actual word of advice on this, he just should be seeking out clips himself to watch and react to. Be like, hey, I saw this thing the other day, and I want to show it to you guys, and we can talk about it. Like, he could do that. He could honestly do that, or better yet, he could have themes for his submissions, instead of just having like, hey, just submit whatever random bullshit you want me to see, and we get like, you know, an ad for Sakura-con from 2009, which is it's a classic piece of internet history, which I'm surprised he doesn't know about. Like they just submit like whatever they want. Like at least in terms of theming, you could say like, oh, people could submit like different things that fit in with the theme, and that would be like a whole other thing. It could be like an actually interesting show to be like, hey, these are all clips that are related to, I don't know, fucking roller coasters or theme parks or something like that. And it could be, you know, he could react to like the food at theme parks, which he loves to do. He could reacting to like ride videos. He could be reacting to things like I forget what the name of the series is, but that one series where the guy makes documentaries on failed theme parks or failed attractions, or just like in general, like, you know, watch like a documentary on the failed malls, like the abandoned malls, like that kind of thing. But he doesn't want to do the long documentaries because apparently they're too much effort for him to sit through. He just wants like smaller things to react to, which is still a problem because he just doesn't react to the whole thing. He sits there, acts confused, skips through it, doesn't understand the context because he skipped through it, still acts confused, calls it boring, and then moves on to the next clip. That's what DSP Reacts, DSP versus the internet is like at this point. He really needs to actually sit the fuck down and pay the fuck attention to what he's watching. Otherwise, it's just all going to be like this. And it continues to be simultaneously the worst content he's ever made and also the best content he's ever made, because it just showcases how alien he actually is.
Now, in addition to all of that, this is the part that gets me. If the person says, oh, I've contributed so much to you, but you just shit on the clip and move on. How do I know I don't know who submitted the clips. Again, in order to not have bias, I put all those clips into a playlist and I just watch them, all right? I don't know who submitted what. I mean, sometimes we can kind of figure it out. If the same kind of clip is submitted week in and week out, we kind of know who submits certain style of clips, we can figure that out. But I don't know who submitted what clip. I don't know, you know, this is someone who has contributed to me a ton. And by the way, that also would not matter. Just because you've contributed a ton, or maybe this is your first time being a member and submitting a video, that has absolutely no bearing on my feelings of a video I'm watching. Oh, someone's a big contributor, so now I have to watch a video and kiss the video's butt because I know it's from a big contributor? No, I'm never going to do that. That's not me. That's literally the antithesis of what I stand for on the internet. I'm not a shill. So I'm not going to sit here and give an overly positive opinion of something just because you're apparently a big contributor, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, everything that this person is saying, it's kind of ridiculous because it's like, there's a lot of like, oh, I deserved better. This should have been treated better. The point is, when you submit something for the React show, you don't know how I'm going to react to it. I don't know either. But if you're submitting something that's so meaningful to you and so important that if I were to say something negative about it, you're going to be insulted, then don't submit it. Don't. Because you don't know what I'm going to say. You have no clue, right? So why would you then do that and put yourself into that situation? I certainly wouldn't do it, right? So again, you seem like you're blaming me for a whole bunch of stuff that I have no control over, and it's also not even the premise of the show. You understand? I'm very confused. It seems to me this is someone who had a lot of very confusing preconceived notions about what it was supposed to be, and that's not what it is, you know? And I believe previously this person has said, well, actually, for the last several weeks I've submitted clips, you don't like any of them. Again, what do you want me to do about that? Do you want me to lie? First of all, I don't know what clips are from you, so it's not like I'm actively saying, oh, it's a clip from this person, their clips always suck, I'll just shit on it this week. I'm not doing that. I'm actually giving my legit reactions to the clips that are submitted. And that's the best I can do. Be real, be true, not make stuff up, not sugarcoat, not butter, not kiss butt. That's how I've always been in the 15... This cat will not stay off my lap today. In the 15 years, right, that I have been a YouTuber. That's who I've been. I'm not going to change who I am as a content creator and a YouTuber. And if you think, oh, being honest is mean, well, then you're in the wrong place. I have always prided myself on being transparent with my opinions on games, my opinions now on these videos I'm reacting to, right? I'm not going to change overnight and be Mr. Kissbutt, Mr. Rainbows and Unicorns and Sprinkles and Glitter and everything's good. I'm never going to be that person, you understand? So if that's what you became a member for, you're definitely in the wrong place. I'm sorry, but you, again, when you say things like, oh, I'm a big supporter, how the hell does that have anything to do with anything? I'm a big supporter, so I should kiss the butt of the clips you submit? That's ridiculous. All right? And the thing is, I'm trying to be respectful here because I could have literally ignored your concern, or I could have said, fuck off, I don't care, right?
That is exactly what you're doing. You're just shitting on the guy for telling you that they feel disrespected for what you had said about the thing that they had submitted. Granted, again, if this guy's being absolutely serious, then they have like other problems, but that's not really the point here. The point here is that you really should care more about the people who send in this stuff to you, considering that they are funding your livelihood. And even if they weren't funding your livelihood, what you should do instead is actually give a shit about their opinions. In general, this is how content creation works, and this is how you engender goodwill with your audience. The reason why people don't like you isn't because you shit on a clip that somebody has submitted. It is because you are currently flying off the handle because somebody is telling you that you shit on a clip they submitted. That is the reason. You're treating this one person with such animosity that I'd be surprised why anybody actually likes you. It is baffling why anybody gives you money, why anybody continues to support you, why anybody watches your shit other than people like me, people like Aquateal, people like Piece of Peace, people like that. Being said, the only reason we watch your shit is because you are fascinating in how out of touch you are. The thing is, with the way that this business works, that you should know how to operate because you've been doing it for 15 years. I'm not even in this as a business, and I know better than you do, is that you should actually give a shit about what your fans have to say, take their criticisms to heart, which you don't do despite the fact that you say you're doing it, and actually like pay attention to their wants and needs and what they like. And if somebody gives you an honest suggestion or something, then give it a fair shake. This is what the guy is asking you to do. He's not asking you to like something or pretend to like something that they sent you. He's asking you to give the thing that they sent you a fair shake, an honest assessment, a full assessment, not just write it off as boring after 20 goddamn seconds, not even, and then, like, you know, move on to the next thing. That's what they're asking you to do. They're asking you to give a damn, which apparently you don't do. Not easily anyway. The only time you actually really give a shit at all is with some people like Derek, and even then we don't know why, because he is a sex pest, he is a problem, yet you keep defending him. And what's even more baffling about that is he doesn't give you any money. Like, the only other time you get so defensive about your fans like that is with Only Ice Ryan, who gives you money. That's the only other time that you actually get defensive about people, when they get called out by the rest of your chat. Like, it doesn't make sense. Make this make sense. But even then, just give the guy what he wants, a fair assessment of the things that he submits. And even if he's saying, oh, you don't know what what people submit, it's hard to believe that, considering you actually go through the list. But if you genuinely don't know, then you should actually treat every assessment as if it's from a loyal supporter, because they probably are. The people who are sending you clip submissions are very rarely the LARPers. They are more than likely people who genuinely want to see you react to something. People like, I don't know, people like Slayer, who have you react to K-pop. They, for some reason, genuinely value your opinion on that. And you will shit on stuff like that just because, or you will use the excuse of, oh, we're gonna get DMCA'd because we're playing this thing. Do you think the big streamers on Twitch care about that shit? No, they care about entertaining their audience by providing them with a charismatic interaction with the thing that they like, with the thing that they submitted. That's what they care about. They care about what their audience thinks. And sure, it might be hard to care about every single, like, one of their several thousand member audience at the time of speaking. It's hard to care about a several dozen member audience and everything that they say about whenever they're doing anything. Hell, sometimes it's even hard for someone like me, who has an audience of less than 10 on a good day, to care about everything that people are saying. But I still try to, like, give a fair assessment to what people suggest and to what people want to see out of me. That's how content creation works. You want to please the people. And here, it seems very, very obvious that the only person you want to please is yourself. You basically demand people submit clips that you yourself will find interesting, not stuff that they like. Because what they like, you don't like. And it's hard to tell what you like because you don't like anything. But that's just how it goes, I guess, with this channel. And it's going to fail. It has been failing, and the numbers have been dwindling for a very, very long time. I'm not a numbers guy. That's like the territory of Piece of Peace and Duty. But they had that information, and they will tell you DSP Reacts is a failing channel. It was dead on arrival, and the only way you could have possibly saved it is by actually giving a shit about what your audience is submitting and acting accordingly. Being honest does not give you the right to be an asshole.
But I'm not gonna be like that. I'm trying to change. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to explain my rationale to people so people know where I'm coming from. Okay? I hope you know that. All right? That's what I'm going for here. I don't want people to be upset. I don't want people to be thinking that I'm trying to be a jerk to them or whatever. That's not the case at all. In this case, it's funny because this person sounds like they actively think I'm, like, reading out their videos just to crap on them. Let me tell you something. If that were the case, I would just not play the video at all, right? I would just say skip it and not play it. Why am I going to waste my time with it? You know? I don't know who these clips are from or whatever, so it's kind of ridiculous that someone would actually think that I'm, like, out to get them almost. It couldn't be further from the truth, all right? What I'll say is I apologize, because the nature of a show like DSP versus the internet is very simple. You never know what you're gonna get, and you never know how I'm gonna react. That's kind of the fun nature of it. It's a variety show where anything goes, you know, and you never, you know, you don't know what kind of stuff you're gonna see on it. One day you can see a food video, the next day it's a music video, the next day it's some kind of a comedy animation, a serious documentary, something that's a scary video, you know? There's so much stuff. There's so much stuff that we've watched on the show in the now almost 4 months that I've been doing it. You know, that's the point, is that you don't know what it's gonna be, and then when I watch it, I at least should have the ability to be honest about what I'm watching and not have to worry about repercussions. That, oh, I said I didn't like a video, so now someone's offended. What is this nonsense? I can't give you an opinion anymore. I can't literally be honest with my audience, transparent, because it offends you. If you're offended by opinions, you shouldn't be on the internet.
In the words of Adam, holy shit, Phil, that is fucking rich coming from you. You are the most sensitive, thin-skinned motherfucker on the internet that anyone has seen. And I had to put a couple caveats to that to some degree, because in general, most people can take criticism of themselves in stride, or at least they don't fly off the handle as badly as you do. And the ones that get it like as bad or worse typically have something really, really wrong with them, to the point where they could actually legitimately put on some sort of disability. And sometimes they are. In your case, you're not. You're just a lazy asshole who cannot take being wrong. Ever. In general, like, this whole thing, this whole, like, 10 minutes dressing down as somebody who basically just said, I don't appreciate you skipping through the clips that I submitted. At least give them a fair shot without skipping them and saying that they're boring and moving on. You do this a lot with a whole bunch of clips. Not just this one, guys, but you do this with like so many that it would probably be a fun thing to do just to make a skip counter when watching these things, because of how often you do it, or how often you will just go around in the video to try to find like something more interesting, or get through like to a different part. You don't watch a whole thing through. And the only time I can really say that's okay is that the video is like 20 minutes long or something like that. At which point the person who is submitting the video should have like told you which timestamps to go to, but that's a whole different story, because you wouldn't have read that comment, because you just add the videos to a playlist according to you. Which I find hard to believe, because you tend to read everything that involves the people who give you money. Big ups to Only Ice Ryan yet again. Even then, like, your idea about the whole nature about the show being like, oh, you never know what you're going to get or whatever on the show, that is like, that doesn't work. That really doesn't work. That's not how most of these like channels do things. Most of the people that you're trying to imitate, that's not how they do things. They get clipped as part of like a natural chemistry that they have with their audience. And in general, they usually have something that they want to show off as well, or that they were told about something from their audience in that moment. They're like, hey, I want you to see something. Like, that's how things work. That's like, I don't know. Like, that's how I've interacted with a few people in my own in my own content, or when I'm watching their content. I will just say like, hey, go check this thing out. It's kind of funny and it's related to what you're talking about. And then they'll go check that thing out, and I will have succeeded in scarring somebody for life because of it. I take great pride in the many people that I have scarred, just from sending them random shit while on stream. But either way, like, that's how it works. It's supposed to be an organic thing, and the way that you're doing it is so manufactured. It takes away like any enjoyment anyone would get out of it. And there's a whole thing about you, like, oh, that you don't see the you don't watch the clips ahead of time. That's a lie. We know you do. We've seen you bring up a video that you're about to watch, and the search bar is already like halfway full. That means you've seen part of it, or at least skipped through part of it. So you have seen stuff. It might not be everything, but you have seen some things before, like watching them again. Like, and that just happens frequently. But again, catching you in a lie is child's play, basically. in general, like the show needs some way to like be more organic, or you just need to drop it entirely. That's just how things go. Like in general, like I don't know, but like the whole idea that you think that people should just like get off the internet or like not be on your channel or whatever if they can't take your opinion on something, that literally is you saying that you have the right to be an asshole. And in general, if people call you out on your shit, you throw a fit like you're doing right now. It's this entire segment is hypocritical of you from what you just said, that if you have that thin skin and can't take criticism that well, then you should just leave. What the fuck do you think you're doing right now? You couldn't take the criticism, so you decide to dress down this person and go on a rant for 10 minutes about how you had to be in the right, how your decision to make the way the show that it is, how that is the correct way to handle things, and how anybody who is trying to tell you, hey, maybe actually watch full clips or like, you know, give things more of a shot, that they're wrong. And then you had to spin it by saying, so you want me to say this clip that you sent me is amazing. That isn't what they said. They just said they wanted you to give it a fair shot, like the whole thing, a fair shot. That's all they wanted. Like that's what most people want when they submit a thing to you. They just want you to watch it and give it a fair shot. And you barely ever do that. You barely watch the full thing through, and you barely ever give anything a fair shot. You usually declare that it is boring, say that your audience is agreeing with you when your audience is basically dead, and move on to the next thing. You have turned this, which most other streamers would like to do in terms of like watching stuff with their audience, to just talk about it and be engaged with the thing that they're watching, and you just turn into just like, oh, I don't get it, let's move on. And you do that a lot.
Really, if you're offended by opinions, you should just stick in a little safe zone with people who like the same things you like, and just stay away from opinions on the internet, because opinions are like assholes. Everyone has them, and they're all really shitty, and they're gonna be offensive to a lot of people. But if you set yourself up for that, if you actively became a member and submitted a video, you have to understand it could go badly. It might be something I don't like. All right? I hope people understand that. Again, I'm not gonna pussyfoot around anything.
Once again, you really, really should care. And stupid scat joke aside, with regards to your little statement about opinions, you've done exactly that. Like crawling into a safe space where nobody can hurt you. You've done exactly that. It is astounding how little self-awareness you actually have. But you have sequestered yourself off from the entirety of society because you can't handle what the outside world has to say about you. And what the outside world has to say about you is pretty negative, sometimes constructive. There are people out there who genuinely wanted to help you. There are people out there who genuinely cared about your well-being and wanted to make you succeed, or at least do something different so that you could actually get a little bit of satisfaction in your life or your career. Either one. The side scrollers wanted to help you, and you spat in their face. Like, the lengths that you will go to protect yourself from any outside criticism are astounding. You also just do this to other people in your life so that they can't really see what the world is saying about them, or what the world is saying about you, so that they actually have to form another opinion about you. You tried to do this with Leanna and it didn't work. And you actually have somewhat succeeded in doing this with Kat because she just doesn't care anyway. The thing is, you sequester yourself off into this, literally into a bubble. You have your condo and you never leave it. It's not even the full condo. It's your office. You never leave the office that you like record out of. The only times you ever leave it are to like get a fucking sandwich or pick up your DoorDash or whatever the fuck, or go to bed. If you are in your office, if you like are outside of your office for any length of time other than that, aside on your days off, then it is a goddamn miracle. because you're in there for like, what, like 10 hours a day. I'm in my car for that long, but at least I'm driving around and doing something. At least I have a fucking job when I'm doing that. You sit here and panhandle and claim it's a job. And in your safe space, you are the supreme being and whatever you say goes. And nobody has freedom of speech there, as you have said, in the United States of Phil. You just lord over everyone. There isn't even a community based around you. You do not have a Discord. You do not have an official subreddit. Your King of Hate forums are basically dead at this point. Nobody posts on them because they are afraid of having their information stolen by you. In general, that's why people don't like to tip you either, because they are afraid of what you would do with their information. And yes, we know you're lying about that too. Guess what? I have a PayPal link as well. And whenever somebody tips me, or whenever somebody pays you for a service, or whenever somebody sends me an invoice for anything that I might need for my streams, because I actually pay people for assets, for emotes, for overlays, for anything that I might need for my streams, I actually pay people and they send me an invoice. I get their names and their address for business purposes. You have people's names and addresses for business purposes, despite the fact that you claim otherwise. And even then, you are also telling people to commit fraud on PayPal in order to protect their identities from people like us who do not care who they are. But instead, they should be protecting their identities from you, because you will reveal who they are to your most loyal followers, your moderators. We know about the anonymous leaks. We don't trust you with our information. Nobody trusts you with their information unless they have nothing to lose from it, or they just don't care about who gets a hold of their information.
All right, 15 years. It's a long time in my life. It's more than a third of my life. I've been a YouTuber. Not time to change now and become Mr. Mr. Softy. Be careful that I don't offend someone with the things that I say when I'm criticizing a video, right? Okay. So anyway, I hope this now puts this issue to bed. If this person is so offended and don't understand where I'm coming from that they never want to support again, then I guess so be it. That's fine. Can't change an opinion, can't change someone's mindset. I think they went into it with the wrong mentality, quite frankly, and it's a shame.
So just to sum everything up, because I know we went in a lot of really weird directions, because there's a lot to unpack with this man, and I try to stay focused, but obviously I can't do that all the time. He really shouldn't be like treating his fans like this, even if his fans are acting in this way, like either pretending to be so offended or actually that offended. He really should be treating them a whole lot better than he does. He just treats people that give him anything with such contempt that it's really hard to believe that he actually cares about his fans at all. And I don't think he does. He just really sees them as a way to boost himself up, either monetarily or in terms of his ego. And that's another theory that I had for another time, which I might discuss that another date. That I don't really believe that Phil is really that money hungry. I believe he's such a control freak that he will use any means necessary in order to maintain control over people, and money is the easiest way to do so. So he will basically control people through their contributions to him and through the information that they submit to him. But he generally doesn't care about the money that gets sent to him, because it's gone no matter what. Within like a day, he will just blow it on something stupid, like he always has. Phil is a glutton, and he will just spend money as quickly as he gets it. He doesn't even care what source it comes from. Like he did this with the money that his mother gave him. He did this with the money that Only a Shrine gave him. He will do this with any money that is given to him, and he really only cares about the money insofar as that he can use it to control people, like he has done in previous previous examples, like with the Snorlax King, or as Only Ice Ryan has actually stated, Phil will probably message people asking him to send the money around this time or during the stream or whatever. Like he coordinates in order to get money. To him, it's all about control. Everything is about control, and that explains a lot more about why he would refuse something that gives him a lot of money, but he has no control over it, or at least not complete control over it. Anyway, that is me for this video. Sorry it's a bit on the lengthy side. I had a lot to talk about. Hopefully the next one will be a little bit shorter, and I'll see you guys all next time.